It's funny because this shirt's so big, it looks like a blanket. Like I just really drown in it. But
Oh, it looks great.
Okay. Are we okay? This is recording.
Yes.
Can you hear me? You think?
What's that chicken nugget?
All right, ready?
Yeah.
I wish we had the iCarly. I wish we had someone that was like Freddie, like in 3, 2. I know you see somehow the world will change for me and be so wonderful. All right, ready? Okay, here we go. All right. Do they clap? Okay.
Did I just mash up with Friends?
You did. Yeah, you did.
iCarly and Friends.
Hey, it's Chelsea.
And I'm Brandon.
And you're listening and watching the Religious Dropouts podcast.
Hey.
It's the voice for me. So we just want to say this is episode 4, and we knew we would get here. That's not a surprise. But it's cool. It's pretty cool to be like, we've got the space now. There's a light sign on the wall. We've got some listeners that care. It's cool.
I told a dude at Whole Foods today
to listen to the podcast.
Well, he asked what we have going on this weekend, and I said I'm recording a podcast. He's like, "Oh, say more," and I said, "Oh, it's called Religious Dropouts," and I think his name was Connor, and he was like,
what up, Connor from Whole Foods?
That's right, Connor from Whole Foods.
Dude,
he was
that's
like,
awesome.
"Oh, that sounds amazing," and never heard of it. And I'm like, well, we do have 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's in the infant stages, Connor, but thank you so much for I did the same thing at Athleta, and I can't remember her name right now, so I feel not as good.
It's Vicky.
Okay, it's definitely not. But yeah, I was like, hey,
generational.
I think she said the same thing. What do you I don't know. We made friends. She's like, I'd love to hang out with you guys, me and my friends.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, well, we'd also love it if you'd listen to the podcast. And she follows our social media.
That's
She's
good.
she did, so it's hilarious. Life updates, what's been going on?
Got a new job. The new job's been great. Really liking how my mind kind of expands as I learn about what nonprofits really do.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna move up there or what?
I think so.
Wow.
We looked at an apartment, and I think it has a lot of our check boxes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. Cool. How far is it from where you guys are now?
50 minutes, 45 minutes.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a cruise.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I've been doing it. I've been
you've
doing
been
an
commuting.
hour and 10. Each
yeah,
day
exactly.
There and
then
traffic
an hour
and 10 back. Yeah.
Jeez, oh Pete's. Yeah, living there is just gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it will.
Cool. We're recording this pre-surgery for me, so I don't have a lot of life updates right now. Besides a overwhelming amount of anxiety.
Yeah.
For my upcoming surgery. So by the time you guys see this, I'll be out of surgery and healing and recovering.
Do you know any like yoga breaths we could do real quick?
I can't wait for people to hear that in their car. Can you imagine being in the school pickup line and your windows down and someone's walking by your car and all they hear? I want to take it back.
I guess I should say we're recording at 11 p.m.
Should
you didn't know
Did
from
that count as a swear? Because all right. So this episode, I think we're gonna title it "Where Are They Now?" And it's just kind of funny because we're really talking about like chicken nuggets though. If you're watching, I forgot to tell you, look at what Brandon got me. Well, he really got it for us.
If you sponsor our podcast, I'll also have a chicken nugget pillow.
Check out podcast sponsorships today. I love it. Anyway, but we were thinking about like where are they now because we thought about ourselves and like where we are now and where we've come from and why, and we're gonna get into that in the podcast. So today, we thought about some celebrities. Who do we have on the list of where are they now?
Raven Simone.
Oh,
Disney
Raven.
Channel.
Yep, and we'll show you a picture. And she's come a long way, come out of some things.
Literally came out
of the closet.
Yeah.
She is, and she's married to a woman. Is that right?
That's right.
Does she do any show, like any kind of acting now?
She does. She does Raven's Home.
No way, like a Raven or like a That's So Raven spinoff.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
She's been doing it for like 3 or 4 seasons. It's on Disney Channel right now.
I'm about to watch it. Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
And she just surpassed Miley Cyrus for the longest running actor on Disney Channel.
No way. I did love a good Hannah Montana. I'm not even going to try to play.
But now Raven Simone has the most episodes.
You know, it's really funny because you know how Miley Cyrus was like super tame? I know this is very much switching gears, but you know how she was like very
in her
Hannah
Disney
Montana?
Channel days?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she wanted to break out into her own career.
Yep.
And I will never forget she did was it Can't Be Tamed? Is that Miley Cyrus? Can't Be Tamed. Was that her, right?
Yep.
I think that it was that or Wrecking Ball, but I think it was Can't Be Tamed. I can't remember.
There was an era of that rebellious.
Yes. But I was here. I was actually in this house with my grandparents who used to own this house. And we were sitting downstairs watching Dancing with the Stars when she premiered her new look and her new, and I will never forget. It was so radical for like that time and her genre, like what she was doing.
What did your grandpa think?
That's the whole thing. My grandma's like, okay, well that was a bit, but my grandma had her thought, and my grandpa's like, well, whatever she wants to do, I guess. Really not my thing, but it was so funny. I'm just on the couch like, did I just watch her like, riding on a snake in a bikini, like with my grandparents? And it was just so funny. Like it was a really good way to, okay, Raven Simone. Cool. So, next celebrity,
Steve from Blue's Clues.
Dude, Steve. Okay. Somebody that's listening to this is obsessed with the old Steve. Cause we're talking about the OG Steve. And
what does an adult obsessed with the old Steve
I don't know what you just said, but I think you meant to say who is not obsessed with old Steve. Is that what you meant?
No.
Oh, wait.
What does an adult that is obsessed with the old Steve look like today?
Oh my gosh. Because he posted, you guys know, somebody back me up on this. He posted a TikTok and a video on Instagram. He put it on all his socials. And it was him being like, hey, a lot of you have asked what I'm up to. And we'll link it in the show notes. Right. But he did this super wholesome, like, and everyone was crying and it went viral.
Oh.
And then he got back on the show. They did the movie together. Like it's crazy.
Well, just because it went viral doesn't mean like people are obsessed with it.
No, but they were pretty obsessed with that moment. Oh my God. He sneezes so many times.
That was bound to happen on the podcast.
I know, you're right. One time.
I know.
I don't know what's going on. I feel like maybe we should scratch this whole episode now because that's never happened in my life.
Place. Don't believe the hate.
Spirit. And then Malfoy. That was the other one. What's his name? Tom Felton.
That's it.
look, but I got the book. My dad got me this.
What a pose on the front.
I know.
What is that?
I know. He looks cute. I'm just saying. Tom Felton looking spicy here. What's it called? Beyond the Wand?
It's Beyond the Wand.
But yeah, Tom Felton wrote a book
for $19.99.
1-800-656. No. Yeah. But yeah, my dad got it for me for my birthday.
Really?
Yeah, and so I thought that's pretty cool. He's writing books now. I don't know if he's still. I think he's still acting. He's in some stuff, but
is it because you just love Harry Potter?
I do. I'm so obsessed with. Oh my gosh, you guys! Wait! The Harry Potter obsession. Stop. So I was getting a pedicure, right? Because pre-surgery, the only thing that's allowed to be painted is your toes. I'm like, I'm gonna look disgusting, so at least my toes have to be painted, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyways. I'm getting a pedicure and the girl goes, she sees my Harry Potter tattoo that's on my ankle. And she goes, oh, you like Harry Potter? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, me too. I love the movies. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so good. And she goes, yeah, I mean, I'm not like obsessed like some freaks are obsessed, like weird Harry Potter freaks, but like I do really like it.
So do you feel like she was resonating with you or calling you out?
You guys, she thought she was resonating with me, having no clue that like I'm a literal psycho. Like, hello. Harry Potter encompasses part of my identity. So it was just hilarious because she was saying it to me like she thought we both were on the same page. I was like, oh yeah, I love the movies too. She's like, I could never read the books. I'm like, yeah.
What's your Harry Potter house?
Oh, obviously Hufflepuff.
Okay. I'm also Hufflepuff, but I didn't know if our viewers would know that.
Oh yeah.
So we want to know what
maybe you thought we were Gryffindor. Because we're like brave and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Do you know your Patronus?
I don't. I never really got into that as much. Like I didn't care about that as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As some people. What was yours though? Because I'm assuming obviously. Was it the squirrel?
I think it's it's either like a horse, although they probably call it something else.
Yeah.
A mare or something like that.
That's
a thing.
I know, but I thought you were gonna say like unicorn or something more magical.
No.
When you said mare.
Pegasus.
That's literally what I thought you were gonna say.
Or it's a stag, like it's the the deer thing.
Yeah. Keyboard Warriors.
Is that up
Keyboard
next?
Warriors. It is.
Okay.
It is up next. And it is the comment. It's a comment. So this Keyboard Warrior, you found it, you saw it, and tell them what it was from. Like, where'd we get it?
Oh, yeah, I know now. Okay.
We made it up. It's fake.
Well, do we play the theme song and then go in?
Keyboard Warriors for Christ.
So this is one of the responses we got at the end of our first episode. If you listen on Spotify, there's always a few different things you can do to interact with us.
Yeah.
And
some questions and stuff.
And just the default question is like, what did you think of this episode? And then this is what we got back from somebody named Justin.
And I love that they put their name because if they wanted to be anonymous, you wouldn't do it.
I think the name's automatically generated from from Spotify.
I'm saying, but you wouldn't comment if you did. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Ready? Kind of a lame podcast, if I'm being honest. Seem like there is no S on the seams.
Seem like.
Stop, I'm in character.
Yeah.
Seem like you guys have lost your minds, honestly. Guys, it's the double honesty. I'm going to read it back for real. Kind of a lame podcast, if I'm being honest. Seem like you guys have lost your minds, honestly. Okay, cool. Well, Justin, we love you, brother. And feels like if our minds are lost, this is where we're at. So what's up?
Honestly.
So that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. I feel like of all the reviews we got from episode 1, that was pretty wholesome. Good content.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
It may be super hard to find a place to go to church, but I'll tell you what's not difficult. A place to find a bomb-ass coffee with incredible ingredients, an impeccable science process, and the coolest workers we've ever met.
Yeah, we're talking about Strange Matter Coffee that's located in Lansing, Michigan. And it's on the east side of town. They're opening one in MSU's campus. They're really incredible. They have great style, which I always love in a coffee shop.
So cool.
But even better, people and product.
Yeah, and Strange Matter is one of the best inclusive environments we've ever been to. We're super excited that they are sponsoring the Religious Dropouts podcast that you're listening to right now. And we asked the chief executive of Snark, our friend Kara, what her favorite product is on the menu, and this is what she said. Her favorite item is the cold brew concentrate that we steep with ground chicory root. And then we combine the concentrate with ice, simple syrup, and milk. It is the sweetest drink on our menu, and it is a huge crowd favorite. Thanks for that recommendation, Kara. We can't wait to try it when we're there.
I'm into a Pop-Tart and a vanilla latte, so check that out too.
We love you, Strange Matter. Thank you. So where are we now? If you had a couple words to describe where we are now compared to maybe where we were in the last 5-10 years or so, what kind of things would you say?
I think obviously ex-ministers.
Yeah. For me, for sure, I'd say liberal.
Yeah,
definitely.
I didn't know I was one, and then I got called it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got like when you get called like with your leftist bullshit and stuff.
That's right.
That's 10.
Yep.
My bad. This is our curse counter. So I did just reference a keyboard warrior from last week. So with the S word.
Just feeling inspired.
Yeah, for sure. Affirming,
Yeah.
And for people listening that aren't Christians or that aren't sure what that means, affirming is it means that we are inclusive of the LGBTQ plus community in the sense of like they belong in the church.
Yeah.
I know there's a better definition for that, but like,
yeah,
we were a part of a denomination that's not affirming, which means that they don't believe that the LGBTQ plus community has a place in leadership in the church or in ministry of any kind.
But we believe in who God's made them to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's the difference than just
Definitely.
like inclusion is like you exist here, but I wish you didn't.
Yeah.
Or
you exist here, but you can't actually have a girlfriend or boyfriend of the same sex. Like
or like lead on stage.
Exactly.
Or be involved in leadership. I'm sure even non-church church communities have certain levels of like are they affirming or not? But
Yeah. Yep. So we are affirming in our theology, and the cool thing is we have relationships with a lot of people who are not affirming.
definitely.
And some of those relationships are really good. Like they just don't see some of the scriptures the way that we see the scriptures.
Yep.
And it's beautiful, and we can disagree, and but at the end of the day, for both of us, I think it's very hard to operate in a ministerial place with people next to you that share the same pew as you, that share the same pulpit as you, that don't believe that that community belongs in the church the way that we believe they
Yeah.
belong. And so unfortunately, like that's the ex-minister part of our career for sure.
I've grown to really want to I want to link arms with as many people as possible.
Definitely.
But if I had to choose between the people that are excluding and the people that are including,
Including
I'm
all day.
go including. Yep.
It's interesting because people have said, like, I've seen this quote at, like, a lot of places. When I come face to face with Jesus, I will always want to err on the side of you included too many
Yep.
people. And it's so weird to me that you sit on the other side. I cannot even, sitting on the other side of the fence. Like, I cannot even imagine being a Christian.
Yep.
The people that we disagree with, like, you really think, like, when you meet Jesus, you really believe that your exclusion is what he's going to be proud of. Like, there's no way. Like,
Yeah.
I can't fathom it. I really can't. But anyways, so there was a quote that I thought was kind of cool because of our situation
Yeah.
of being ex-ministers and stuff. So I want to read that real
Yeah.
quick. And it's by Wendy Jade, and it says, an environment that is not safe to disagree in is not an environment focused on growth. It's an
Mhm.
environment focused on control.
Yeah.
Can you connect that back to your experience?
Oh, I think most of my experiences,
Yeah,
I have family and deep friendships that that as long as I was quiet, they were fine.
definitely.
But when
Yeah.
I felt
Vocal about your beliefs,
vocal about my
or
beliefs, yeah, that's where we didn't. It's not that we were disagreeing before. They knew we were disagreeing, but I was the one that knew my place, and that's at least how it feels. But then once it's like a loud disagreement,
yeah,
oof, that they're done. You know what I mean? I'm not in their lives. Like they
Yeah.
have chosen to put up walls without us even having conversations.
yeah. I remember, and I remember because it happened like 3 days ago, but I just had a conversation with someone that was pretty close to me where I told them, like, hey, I want you to know that if you want our relationship to keep being good, and for us to keep having a healthy, transparent relationship, it's going to be hard for me if you continue to be a secret ally of the LGBTQ plus community. And I let them know I respect you and, like, I love you, and I don't want to stop being your friend, like, ever. That's not what I'm saying. But I want you to know that your private allyship is not, I'm in a different place, and that's going to be really hard for me.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that. And they were really cool. They're like, I understand that, and I'm gonna really like take that to heart. Like, I really felt like it was a good conversation, but I had to be honest about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real problem for me.
Silence usually helps the oppressors,
Yep.
not the oppressed.
Always.
And so
That's a great
there's always
Amen.
a moment where I've had several breaking points in my discovery of my beliefs that
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't think I can stay silent on this.
Yeah.
I think I have a responsibility to the people I love, that
Definitely.
this is a breaking point for that. And there's a point where people need to hear your voice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your voice has impact and influence.
Yeah.
Definitely. So how do we break free from that control? Or how do we become, like, the where are they now? Like, how are we here now? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people have that question. Like, we do share a lot of church hurt. And I mean, we're on episode 4. So, like, obviously we haven't shared that much. We've sat with you guys for 3 episodes so far. This is the 4th one. So, but we have shared a lot of that with you. And I think it's important to know, like, how did we get here? Because Brandon grew up in the beginning of his ministry was very different politically than I was. I always leaned, actually, in fact, I was an atheist when I first came to a church.
I don't know if I knew that.
So, yeah, you did. Really?
I don't know if I knew that
Yeah.
you claimed that. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was so when I first was invited to the church, I was already, what some people would say, pure evil or off the rails,
Oh.
as people have said about me and to me. in this liberal season, right? And
Yeah.
in my snowflake agenda. But
Oh, that's right.
but as I already came to the table with some of that when I first came to the church, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But for you were a little different coming into the church.
No, I mean, anything I would have known, I would have thought Christianity and republicanism
Yeah.
were
Being conservative.
synonymous.
Yeah, definitely. So how did we get here? So I
Yeah.
guess I just kind of want to get into how we got here and what influenced and impacted us to have the positions we have now. And I think it's important because like I think it's only fair for you guys to know that part of our journey too.
Yeah.
Not just where we are now, but what kind of got us there. And maybe you're experiencing the same things. And so maybe you can connect with some of these things. So Brandon, you want to kind of
Yeah, so we're gonna take you guys through, I think, like 8 points. They will be in no particular order, but maybe
of importance or whatever.
yeah, but maybe we'll list them in the show notes of some sort.
Yeah, cool.
But so basically, they're like 8 points of like what caused us dissonance, or I don't want to say confusion because I know some people that can take that and manipulate. But I do want to say like you should see things aren't quite as what I believed they were or what I thought they were. And these are 8 moments where we felt that way.
Yeah. And maybe 9. I'm not sure how many we actually have here.
Yeah, that's right. You'll keep us honest.
Yeah, exactly. This is the curse counter, not the point counter. So we're gonna have to just keep that at 1. But anyway, so I'll try to count.
A friend I heard many recommendations of author Rachel Held Evans, who we've talked about. And she had a book called A Year of Biblical Womanhood. And I started listening to this book while my sister was working. My sister Shelby was working to be a minister,
district licensed
pastor,
which is a process, right? A course of study. Yeah. So she was like doing the coursework and hours put into to get that license.
And even in that denomination where women are affirmed to be ordained, or
Nazarenes were one of the first denominations to affirm women in ministry.
Yeah. Even though that was the case, I still felt like there were several family members and friends that I just had conversations where they were like, "Oh, I'm just unsure on if women could be pastors," and they would just say little like microaggressions, kind of like, "Oh, I just think I tune in better for a man," or they grab my attention, or they're meant to do that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So that at that same time, Rachel's book, that feels weird, like I'm personal with her.
But Rachel Held Evans' book, which we were.
She isn't really addressing like, can women be pastors or not. She took a long time and spent like 3 months doing everything in the Bible that she could find, that like the Proverbs 31 women. She did everything as literal as possible.
Yeah.
As a blog lifestyle that became a book.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was sarcastic, but you could see the ridiculousness.
Absolutely.
Of if we take it literally, this is where it goes.
And how much God was calling for so much more than that.
Yes.
And what God was really calling women to do did not line up with the literal adaptation of those scriptures.
Can I for a second? That was crazy about that. Is she learned from a Jewish woman, pen pal she met on the internet. She learned that the Proverbs 31 proverb is not a literal commandment to women to cross off all of these things in one day. You do this, you clean that, you cook that, you go to the market, you do that. It's nothing like a laundry list of how you're supposed to be. It's actually an affirmation that your husband would speak over.
So beautiful.
Would speak over when guests were in the home. Yeah. Would speak over his wife when you put it in the Jewish context. That's what they did. Yeah. And they would say Eshet Chayil. And they would talk about the woman of valor that his wife is,
which is devastating, because it turned into more of a.
It turned it into, as a man, I'm looking for a Proverbs 31 woman. Exactly. Which what that means is she better have it.
You're not edifying anymore.
Yes, exactly.
You're controlling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before it's not necessarily that because you cooked and you cleaned and you got all these probably 30, no pun intended, like 30
Yeah.
uh things that she should be, but instead
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
you might have done 8 of these today,
Right, exactly.
but you
Right.
are this.
Yeah, right.
Totally
Right.
changes the meaning.
Yeah, so good.
So
So good.
that book was instrumental for me
Yeah.
because it began to this like trick of like context matters. And so now when I read scripture, I'm like, what's the literary style that this author
That's right.
wrote? Who was the author? Because when we say God writes or
Yeah.
God says, we're wrong. So we have to,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're talking about literally Jesus's words, you are wrong.
Yeah,
We have
it's
to double
somebody
check.
that it's somebody else sharing what
Yes,
God
it's
said. Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
It's
Yep. Luke,
David. It's
Matthew. Yep.
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking I preached on Pentecost about the Holy Spirit, and I literally was looking up like what is Holy Spirit in Hebrew, and Rauk, and it means energy and this, and really learning like and just those little moments, everything changes in how you understand the scripture
Yeah.
when you put context on it.
Yep.
And I wish we would be better, but anyway, yeah, that I totally connect with
So
that.
that's
And I think
kind
that's
of like
beautiful.
one of mine, maybe 1 to 2 of mine is Rachel Held Evans' book, A Year in Biblical Womanhood.
Yeah.
We're gonna have links for days on this.
We
on these
are.
show
And
notes.
speaking of books, I do want to pull, if you want to grab that Shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless was not really one that was like a game changer. I loved it. I mean, I love Nadia Bowles-Weber.
I haven't read this yet, actually.
Yeah, it's a little spicier, a
Ooh.
little different. But Nadia Bowles-Weber has a book. It's called Accidental Saints, and it changed everything for
Yeah.
me. It really, because it affirmed in me that the minister I wanted to be and the people I did care about, someone else also cared about. And
Yeah.
she was a famous, minister and theologian and speaker and author. And I'm like, wow, like if that can be true for her, and she can still hold credentials and be
Yeah.
a speaker, like then that can be true for me too. And this book is called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I don't think you can see it obviously from, I know it's not a super close up. But like Brandon said, we'll have links for days on this podcast.
This one is legendary for days.
Yeah.
It's got, I think Oprah's the
Untamed.
yeah, Oprah's one of the, up on here for the
Glennon Doyle
recommendation.
was in herself a huge game changer for me, because I followed Glennon Doyle as a Christian wife and mother, and her husband had an affair, actually multiple affairs, and she had did this very big book tour and like did all of these, she had all these speaking engagements about forgiving her husband, and she wrote actually 1 or 2 books about repairing her marriage and all these things. And I loved listening and watching and reading her blog. She had a huge blog, and then all of a sudden she like disappeared off the face of the earth. I didn't really care about her she was just another person I would read.
Was she just a speaker?
She was an author as well. She had written a few books at that point too. But her story she had ended up coming out and divorced her husband and married a woman, Abby Wambach. And her story is beautiful and her ministry is beautiful, but she wrote Untamed post big Christian wife, mother, author. She's still a Christian, but no longer in the same community as she was, post coming out in the LGBTQ community and all these things. And so I rediscovered her with Untamed, that was recommended to me to read. And the book just changed everything for me. It was just reading this compilation of stories of a woman who it was in this relentless pursuit of loving people. And it gives a lot of Bob Goff type energy in that way too. But it was just beautiful. Beautiful. So those are some good Rachel Held Evans, Nadia Bowles-Weber, Glennon Doyle. Definitely influential in how we got here. Yeah.
I think a consistent theme that you'll hear is you have to expand your library.
Absolutely.
If it's white straight men that are always teaching you about things, that's the problem.
You're missing the mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, exactly. I will also say the Donald Trump's presidency, the election, and I won't get like super political because I don't need to. I will just say that I started realizing all of a sudden things that I wrestled with and thought we were a little more private about, like, hey, we're kind of wrestling through the church and racism, or the church and the LGBTQ plus community, like some of these issues I really thought that we were kind of wrestling through or working with, all of a sudden became very public and on the forefront. And in the languaging that came from Donald Trump as the president was very aggressive and very and you can disagree. I hope you still listen to this after this. I hope this doesn't deter you from being a part of this community.
Yep.
But in my opinion, so much of what he said was so hateful. And that really was very triggering to me. And it spearheaded me to feel kind of divisive, which made me want to learn more and understand others more, have some politically charged conversations more, which kind of led me to figuring out what I believed even more. It put more
Yeah.
pressure on me having to decide what I felt about things.
Yeah.
When before I was fine being kind of in the gray, I quickly had to start deciding which side of the fence I wanted to be on, for the sake of my community. So that was tough.
Yeah, similar to that, one of my big things is I think following people on social media, being the age that I am, being the generation that
Okay.
that follows people on Instagram, like I think that will be maybe sometimes belittled by people that are older, but for me, it's I understand the real stories.
Yeah, these are real people
These
on
are
social
real people.
media.
So when
Yeah.
I followed Lecrae,
Yeah.
because I appreciated his music,
Mm-hmm.
when he spoke out against a racial tragedy, that mattered.
You listened.
I listened
Yeah. Yeah.
because I cared,
Yeah.
because like he mattered to me.
Yeah.
So like following social media instead of like, I don't really watch the news. So like, I wouldn't say I'm political.
Yeah.
I would say I'm social. Like
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in the
Yeah.
world. Like
Right. That's right.
I want to know how that affects my neighbor
Yeah.
that's 10 feet away or 10 countries away.
Yeah.
I would say a longer measurement. I'm just not that smart. So
No,
countries is going to
100%.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, we yeah, I just told someone this week. I was like, I don't remember what the context of the conversation was, but they were like, I don't know. She's like a doctor and like so smart. And I was like, listen, I just want you to know, in this conversation we're having, I did graduate high school with a 2.5, bro. Like it's
Oh.
not great out here. You know what I mean? Like it's not great in these streets. So it was, yeah, I really struggled, you guys. Like, okay, cool. ADHD and
Chelsea,
stuff.
did I tell you I
Oh,
graduated
no.
with a 2.3?
Shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we
Yeah.
just we're it, man. Come on.
I struggled
We
my
just fist
freshman and
bumped in case you
sophomore
weren't
year,
watching it.
and then I had a teacher speak some really cool things over me, and I got plugged in,
Dude,
big in
you have
marketing
no
and
idea
business.
how crazy that is right now, because that's exactly what happened to me. Is I was, and actually the funniest thing in the whole world is
We've never talked about this.
no, never. But my freshman and sophomore year, I was so checked out. I was so interested in being the homecoming queen and doing this and making all the friends. Like I had no desire to touch school at all. And then my junior year, my family moved to Slovenia. And I had to go to a school that was 10 times tinier than where I was. And so teachers started speaking, because they knew me. So they could speak over me because they knew that I had better potential. Where the school I was at that was super big, they wouldn't speak over you because they didn't have a clue. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And all of a sudden, I went from having like a 1 point. I didn't tell you what I had when I ended my sophomore year.
Right.
I
Yeah,
had like
me
a
either.
1 point
Yep.
something. So it took so much for me to even graduate with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. So anyway,
That feels like exactly what when we met
yeah.
and we talked around that
Oh
mud
yeah,
pit at the
because I
campgrounds.
had dropped out of college, and you were
Yep.
like, I just dropped out of all of that. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh no way, I also dropped. I mean, mine was before you because I'm older, but we were very close, and like our stories were
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
That's so funny. No way.
Cool.
So you've got one more on your list, and then we've got one mutual, and then we'll kind of start to wrap
Okay.
this up.
Yeah, my last one is just I had a really close friend come out to me, and that maybe 2 years ago, and she came out as bisexual, and I think why that was so crazy to me is because at that point we've been friends for a little bit, and it was personal. I knew her as a Christian, as a woman of God, and I watched her with tears in her eyes tell me about how she had prayed for something to change, for something to be different, for God to change that
Identity.
and change that identity. And and she just she kind of locked in this thought in my head, like, if God is real, if her prayers are real, if her faith is real,
Mm-hmm.
if A plus B plus C equals whatever, X or whatever.
Yeah, not that smart. So.
I don't, yes, not that smart. So if all of that is true,
Yeah.
then wouldn't it have gone away?
Yeah.
I
And if
just-
God is so powerful, wouldn't that have happened for so many people?
that's tons of
Yeah.
people's testimonies.
It is
that
tons
they
of
prayed or they
testimonies.
searched.
If
or
you
they,
follow any kind of Christians that are identifying in the LGBTQIA plus community, I would bet you almost 80% of the stories that I
Yeah.
hear in that community are like that.
Because-
That they didn't want that to be that they, and even Kevin Garcia's story,
yeah.
who wrote Theology Kills, or Bad Theology Kills. I can't
Yeah.
remember what the book title is now,
That's
but
it.
it's an amazing book. But even Kevin Garcia says, he did the same thing. He's like, I prayed it away, and I acted like I had a new life, and that was my old life. And he's like, but it never changed.
And what really pisses me off is the priority.
Piss does count, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Curse count.
The priority
going.
that every one of these stories had was honoring God first.
Yeah.
They went in prayer. They went to Google. They went in their Bible. They
Yeah, that's
figured.
right.
They tried to figure it out.
Yeah.
But what pisses me off is that people, it's the same one, same instance.
Yeah, this curse counter's on you, buddy. That's
Why
number 3.
it gets me is that
Yeah.
people are so quick to say that they are horrible Christians
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
their life.
Yeah.
Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling.
But it made me realize, like, when she was telling me that, like, yeah, I actually do believe that God would fix that,
yeah.
because I believe you're
If he
genuine
didn't
about your
intentionally
prayer,
create them
and I
that
believe
way.
he's genuinely listening.
Yeah.
So I have to believe
Yeah.
something's dissonance here. So I'm not saying just like that my beliefs were insanely different, but it made me take steps back from my certainty, and now I can learn a little bit more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for both of us, we both had this I don't even know if it was revelation. I don't know what you call it. I really don't, but I know that when George Floyd was murdered, as that story broke and as you watched the church respond,
Oh yeah.
for me, it wasn't the murder of George Floyd that made me an ex-minister. It was the response and the lack of response from the church that made me say, there is no way in hell
Mhm.
that I am going to stay a part of an institution
Yep.
that isn't going to call this out for exactly what it is until the
Definitely.
court hearing. It was like until we just got to hear all the side. Like, it was just really when the mark in the sand for me was really, and that really was a defining moment for me, where I was like, I can't stay.
Yeah.
I can't stay here.
Yeah, I just can't do it because humans' lives matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you just can't imagine a forged dollar bill being like, because that's what people said. Mainly white Christians, they would say, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, what did he do?
Absolutely.
Was he under the influence?
Yeah.
Why did he run?
And even people who didn't have a bad heart. Like, I know a lot of people who had really shitty hearts that
Yeah.
said stuff like that were already inherently like racist or had but I also know people that were really good, that were really like great people that loved God, that were genuinely
right.
almost realizing for the first time, or unfortunately not realizing, that they had some deep-rooted racism that they didn't even realize until that happened.
Yeah.
Because they were saying things like that.
Because it runs deep. And what
Yeah.
I'm learning to respect is the boldness that some people have to go deep within themselves, to
Yeah.
ask, like, what is generational in my life?
And to be honest, that's where you were at. Like, to say, like, what it's not, I don't know if it's so much humility, but it's like that honesty within yourself of like,
Yep.
I think I was getting it wrong.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we did with all these issues. We
Yeah.
we looked at the table that we were sitting at, and we were like, I think we might be getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And what do we do to rectify that? And it wasn't start a podcast, but it was take steps to get out of this, because if these are the people around me at the table, I can't do this anymore. It's not the right table for me.
Yeah. Last one, all you?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
But we do have, I think that was kind of all we like as far as our big, what were the big moments for us. I mean, there's probably 1,000 other things we could say, but I know we've talked a lot. And
do we ask them, do you think? Like,
yeah,
what are the
that'd
big
be
moments
awesome.
for them? That'd
Yeah.
be so cool.
Yeah, and I know we have we've got an audio, a voicemail, and if you guys don't know, we have a phone number that you can call and leave a voicemail on, and we love it. I mean, it's so cool to get these messages from you guys. And the one that we got is from our friend Emily. And so we're gonna play that clip for you guys, and Emily just shares her experience, and it's kind of funny because obviously she had no idea this was our episode 4, so it's not like she called in because we asked this question, because we hadn't asked it yet. But she really does give kind of a cool summary of where she is now, coming from being a small group leader in her church, and what kind of got her to step away, and where she is now. And so her story is pretty cool, and so I'm excited to let her kind of share that, and then we'd love to ask you, like, where are you now? And maybe where'd you come from to be where you are now, and what maybe helped you get there.
Definitely. Emily's clip.
Cool. Yep.
Hey, Chelsea and Brandon. So I'm calling to kind of share my journey the last 5 months as a religious dropout. I left the Nazarene church about 5 months ago. I decided to take a break for a bit and not make like a strong commitment to another church or denomination. I just needed some time to kind of heal outside church walls for a bit. But I was considering checking a place out because they always had like the coolest messages on their church signs that related to like LGBTQ, racism, sexism, Christian nationalism, just like things that really got you like thinking and were really progressive in nature for the church. But it actually wasn't until Pastor Greg Locke came to town. He said, who just has some really hateful theology, some of the most hateful theology I've ever heard. And a lot of churches within our community remained silent, and only a couple spoke out. That night I turned on the news and I saw that church standing outside in the rain holding rainbow signs that said, "God loves you for exactly who you are." So that made me want to go check out the church. I was like really reluctant before, but immediately seeing just kind of the potential of the church and see them completely embody love and create this really amazing community just kept making me want to go back. They are fully LGBTQ accepting. They serve in different departments of the church. They're with their partners. They're openly out. And I've just been so grateful for this space to heal. I didn't know if that was going to be possible within church walls, but I think what I have learned from this is because I walked away, I listened to the Holy Spirit. My faith has been made stronger because I dropped out. So anyways, super thankful for you guys.
I did not expect to cry because I swore we listened to that already. But it hit me so hard because it's the kind of Christian I want to be. Like, I want to be the Christian that's standing outside in the rain with the damn rainbow sign, just to make sure that somebody out there knows that, like, they're not alone, that they're loved, that God wants them and needs them. And that if they're feeling broken in a community, they turn on the news and then they're a part of a bigger kingdom story.
Yeah.
And like, what a beautiful God.
That was such good imagery. And I love that even Emily said it made her realize the potential of the church.
Yeah.
She grew
There's
up,
more than
I think
seen.
Emily grew up in the church.
I think so too.
What does it take to see the potential of the church? Christians in the rain.
Yep.
I guess.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. So meet us there, guys. Check the forecast, and that's where we're going to be.
Check the forecast.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye, dropouts.
Hey, fam. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Religious Dropouts podcast. We hope it gave you a space to breathe, to laugh, and connect. It's our hope that as you journey along with us, that you too might find yourself saying, "Damn, it feels good to be a dropout." Be sure to check out our show notes for links to anything mentioned in this episode, including ways to connect with us on social media. We'd also love for you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with anyone you know who might want to join our community. You are loved. Have a great week.